Alright guys, today I'm gonna try to do a tutorial that shows how to solve one of these 3x3x3 Rubik's Cube. To solve the Rubik's Cube, the method I'm gonna use for this tutorial is basically called the beginner's method, in which you have to solve the cube layer by layer. So what I mean by that is that you would solve the first layer first, and then the middle layer, which is the second layer, and finally the third layer. Now, depending on which side you choose, your layers would be different. So it's a 6-sided cube, and the way you tell which color orientation a particular side is dependent on the middle piece. As you can see, the middle piece hardly ever moves unless you move the middle piece. And if you keep it in the same orientation, it always shows the same color. So let's say this face will always be the white, this face will always be green, this face will always be red, this face will always be yellow. You get the idea. So whatever the middle piece is, that's the color of the face. I'm gonna try to solve the first layer as white, because if you were to study further into how to solve Rubik's Cubes faster, you would learn that most people do their algorithms, the sequences that are needed to solve a particular piece or a particular layer is oriented in such a way that the white face is down and the yellow face is up. So if you learn it this way, it will be much easier to transition into like speed cubing or something like that. That being said, let's get started. So before we start doing the cross, there's nomenclature or terms that are used to write algorithms, and I think it's important that we learn those, because once you get a hang of it and you're reading it on websites or another tutorial, whatever, it will be much easier to transition into getting into it by yourself. So it's quite simple. So there's the upside, which would be designated as U. There's the right side, whatever your right hand is holding, designated as R. There's the left side, whichever side your left side is holding, designated as L. And there's the downside, designated as D, and the middle side, the middle layer, designated as M. Now, if you were to turn it clockwise, whether it's up or whether it's right, you envision it on the right side, turning it clockwise, it would be just R or just up or just D, or just L, turning it clockwise. If you were to turn it counterclockwise, it would be R prime or RI. I usually try to say it as RI, which means R inverse or R counterclockwise, but anything that's inverse or prime or counterclockwise is basically counterclockwise. And if I were to just say R or U, it's just clockwise. So that being said, let's just get started on making the cross, which is the easiest thing to do. What you need to do for a cross, since we're solving the white side up first, you would need to locate one of the pieces that has a white on this area, and it will obviously have a different color on the other side. So there are 4 edge pieces that we need to solve to make the cross. And as I go along, I'll give you the algorithms for it. So that's the white, that's one of the white edge pieces, and it's already paired with a red piece, so all you need to do is bring it up like that, and it's aligned. That's another white piece, and it's with a green piece, and what you need to do to bring it up is first take it to the green side, and the way you would take it to the green side is first bringing it to the downside like that, and then turning it to the green side like that, and then bringing it up. Let's do another one. That's the blue one. Bring it to the downside, bring it to the blue side, and then you bring it up. But once you bring this up, you realize that there's a slight issue, which is that it is flipped over. So the white needs to be here and the blue needs to be here. And the way you do that is you either bring it to the left or to the right, and you do this algorithm. So if you bring it to the left, or if you want to bring it to the left, you bring it to the side over here on the left side, and once you bring it to the left side, you turn U L I U I, and that basically aligns it. Let's do another one. There's the orange white piece. It's already aligned, so all you need to do is bring it up like that, and I just turned this around, but we already solved the red piece before, so you just turn that back. But if you let's just go over if this thing was flipped over, and if you were to the right side, how you would do it. So let's say it was flipped over like that, and you wanted to bring it right back up here. You would bring it to the right side or the left side. We did the left before, and you would do U I, which is U inverse or counterclockwise, R, and then U again, and that would just maintain all the edge pieces with their right colors and give you the white cross. Now, since we did the white cross, the next step to solve the first layer, which is this layer facing us, the white layer, would be to solve the corners. And the corners are as simple, I would say, as solving as the white cross or the edge pieces that we aligned. So to solve the corners have three sides, and the way you tell which corner goes to which side is by looking at the colors. So this is the one of the corners that will come here, but it goes on the side that is correlating with the green and the orange. So the same thing we did with the middle pieces, we're going to take it to the bottom, to the downside, and orient it at right below the corner where it's supposed to go. So this will go in the green and orange corner. So let's take it to the bottom. It was right here. We take it to the bottom and switch it to the orange, green, and white side. So it's right below that. So once we bring it over here, it should be fine. When we bring it here, it should be fine. So the way you bring this over here is you do this algorithm, which is RI, DI, R, D, and you keep doing that. RI, DI, R, D, RI, DI, R, D, and as you can see, this corner is up here now. One of the good things about these cubes, if you do the same move, RI, DI, RD, 6 times, it should return your cube back to the position it was 6 moves before. So let's try that. The whole thing, RI, DI, RD, 6 times. So RI, DI, RD, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, and that's 6. And as you can see, that corner is here. This corner, it also has white, so it's one of the things we're looking for, and it will go in this side because it's in the red blue corner. So same thing, you bring it down, all the way down, and align it with the corner where it's supposed to go, and you should do the RI, DI, RD, and I already know that this will take only one move when you do the RI, DI, RD, and it's up there. And that's just by practice. You recognize where the colors are, what face is facing which way, and how many moves it's going to take you to bring that corner up. This is another white corner, and it is already aligned with the green and red side, so it is where it needs to be, right below the corner where it's supposed to go. This also will take one move of the RI, DI, RD, and as soon as we do that, it's up there. The next corner is this corner, so we're looking for the blue-orange corner, which is right here. So it's already in the downside, not giving us too much issue. We just align it so that it's right below where it is, and then you do the RI, DI, RD as many times as you need, and it's back up there. So as you can see, we have solved the first layer. It's completely solved, and it's aligned with whatever side it needs to go. And the next thing we will do is so now, since we know how to solve the cross and then solve the corners for the first layer, completing the first layer, the next thing to do is solve the second layer, which is the middle layer over here. And the way we do that is we only need to solve for 4 pieces, because the middles are always going to be consistently on the same spot, and this part and this edge piece, this edge piece, this edge piece, and this edge piece just needs to be replaced with the right parts. So this one will be a red and blue part, this one will be a blue and orange, and this one will be orange and green, and this one will be a green and red. So let's get started with that. These algorithms that I'm about to show you, you probably need to memorize in the beginning, but after a while it just becomes like muscle memory, and you recognize them and do them as quickly as you can. So what you need to do is, once you recognize one of the edge pieces that actually go into the edges, in this instance it is the red and blue piece, you realize that the way it should go is over here. So you actually gonna move it to the right, and in order to move it to the right, you do this algorithm, which is U R U I R I U I F I U F, and that you can see moved it back here. Let's do that again with this piece, which is the blue and orange piece, and it needs to go to the left. And in order for it to go to the left, you need to do this algorithm, which is UI LI UL U F UI FI. And as you can see, once I did that, it actually brought it here, but it is flipped. And that's something you would encounter if you were not aligning the edge piece over here correctly. So the perfect alignment would be, you need to align it in such a way that if you were to bring it to the left, it needed to align with the blue over here, like it did over here, because it will just flip it like that. And so the blue face actually needed to be faced towards you. But that's fine, we'll take it out and we'll do it again. But that's how you would bring one edge piece from here to the left side with that algorithm. Now let's try another piece. I'll take that out in a little bit and show you how to actually solve that issue, because you might have an issue where one piece is already like that and you need to take it out and rearrange it and bring it back the right way. So let's take it out right now. I'll just substitute this piece with another piece that I don't really need to be there. So I'll just use this. So since I'm bringing it to the left, let's go over that algorithm again, which was UI LI UL U F UI FI, and it replaced it with that red yellow piece. Now this piece is the piece we were looking for, and we need to bring it to the left, and we will do that left algorithm again. And that's perfectly done. And then let's do the other 2 edges that we need to do, this one and this one. This is the red one, so we do the algorithm for the right side that we did before, which was the U R U I R I U I F I, and then U F, and that solves that. And then the last one, which one would be the orange and green, so you line it up with the side that's facing you, and then it needs to go to the left because it needs to replace this edge piece. So you do the left one again, which is UI LI UL U F UI FI, and there you go, the middle piece is done. Alright, so now since we learned how to solve the first layer by solving the cross, the corners, and the middle layer by solving the 4 edge pieces, we'll go over how to solve the last layer. So to solve the last layer, you need to make a cross again, and this layer is obviously the yellow layer, and because it is opposite to the white, and we will solve the cross first and then solve the edges, like similar to what we did with the first layer, but the algorithms are a little different. So in order to get the cross, you need to do this algorithm, which is F R U RI, UI, FI, and you need to do it as many times as you need to see a cross form. So you do it again, F, R, U, R, I, U, I, F, I, F, R, U, R, I, U, I, F, I. So you can see that cross has formed. And once that cross has formed, you need to align these edge pieces. Like when we solved the first layer, the edge pieces were aligned because we aligned the edge pieces when we were making the cross. But here you just make the cross first and then you align the edge pieces. And you can see that 2 of the edge pieces align, whereas 2 of them don't. And in order to solve that issue, what you do is you do this algorithm, which is R, U, RI, U, R, 2 U's, RI. And once you move that again, you will see that all the edge pieces are aligned. Now, since all the edge pieces are aligned, the last thing we need to do is solve for the corners. And one of the corners is already solved. So if a corner is already solved, we just need to make sure that the other corners are where they're supposed to be. What I mean by that is that this corner is in the right place, because this corner should be a corner that has these following colors, which is green, orange, and yellow, and it does have that. This corner should be something that follows the color pattern of green, red, green, and yellow, and that does that. And this one, obviously does it, which is blue, red, and yellow. But sometimes we might not be that lucky, and if we are not, we have to use another algorithm. But since this one is already done for us, what we need to do is just go ahead and solve it, and I'll go over the parities later. So for this one, you do the same algorithm that we did for the very first layer when we were solving the crosses, which was the RI, DI, RD, and you do it as many times to bring the yellow up. And once the yellow is up, you just turn the first layer to this corner, which corner you just solved, which was this one. We just solved this, and you bring it over here, and you do the RI, DI, RD again till the yellow comes up again. And then you turn this again, and you do the RI, DI, RD, and once you do that, your cube is solved. There may come a time where, after you have solved this cross for the last layer, the corners are not aligned where they should be, and you're not able to do the RI, DI, RD. So you look for a corner that may be aligned, and in this case none of them are, so it doesn't really matter, and you do this algorithm. The algorithm is U, R, U, R, UI, LI, U, RI, U, I, L. So it's more intuitive if you just do it like this, which is like you turn the upside towards the left, turn it away from you, turn the upside back, turn this left side away from you, turn the upside again, bring this right side back to you, turn the upside to the right, and bring the left side back to you. So if you keep doing that, some of the corner pieces will align, which looks like this aligns, and nothing else really. So once one piece aligns, you take it to the side and do that algorithm again. Once you do that, you see if anything else aligns. It doesn't, so you keep doing that. And once you do that, you see that 2 of these pieces not only aligned but solved themselves, and this one is aligned in the right place, which is the red, blue, and yellow. And this is already we knew where it was aligned, and we performed that algorithm that we needed, and that is in the right place. So you bring one of the unsolved pieces to your right side, which is right here, and you do the RI, DI, RD again. When that solves for the yellow, turn this white side and bring this corner to this side, this corner, and then you do the RI, DI, RD, and that solves that corner. And once that corner is solved, your cube is solved. the other issues that you might run into once you make this cross is and you're trying to align these edge pieces, is that it might only align the edge pieces across from each other, but not the ones to the side. So in that case, what you do is you put one of the edge pieces that is already aligned on the right side, and you do that algorithm that we went over before, which was R, U, R, I, U, R, 2 U's, and R, I, and that should align 2 of the pieces again, which in this case is going to be the green and the orange. As you can see, they're aligned like that. And once they're aligned, you take one of the sides that are aligned. In this case, I'm taking the green, obviously, and putting it on my right side, and then performing that algorithm again. Once I do that, all the sides are aligned, and you could start aligning the corners again the way we went over and solve the cube.